Ever wondered how to plan, execute, and automate your workflows like a pro? Today, we're diving into AI tools that make it happen. Welcome to the deep dive, where we take a stack of information and pull out the bits you really need to know. For this session, we've got a fascinating behind the scenes look at how one creator, AppyDave, is structuring a series of, well, really interesting projects, all using AI and automation at their core.
Yeah, and what's particularly insightful for you, the listener, is that we're not just seeing the finished product. We're actually getting a window into the planning process itself, because AppyDave is live streaming how he outlines these complex tasks. It's like watching the architect draw up the blueprints.
Exactly. Our source material documents the planning of not one, but three distinct live streams AppyDave has on the horizon. And get this, the planning itself is happening live. So if you've ever felt like you're fumbling in the dark when trying to map out a big project, this peek behind the curtain should be really valuable. Let's break down what these three live streams are all about.
Okay, so the first one is quite technical. It's focusing on actually creating AI-generated workflows and then figuring out how to integrate them into a user interface. Think of it as making AI do the heavy lifting and then building a user-friendly dashboard to control it.
Right.
The second planned livestream takes a more visual approach. It puts two popular generative AI tools, ChatGPT and Leonardo AI, head-to-head in an image generation showdown.
Ooh, interesting.
And the third tackles something many of you might find relatable, planning a comprehensive 3-day AI workshop.
So a real mix there. You've got technical deep dives, more broadly applicable creative stuff, and educational content, all tied together by this theme of AI and automation. Our mission today is to understand the nuts and bolts of AppyDave's planning for each of these. We want to uncover not just what he's doing, but the why behind his approach, like what's driving these planning decisions and what can you, the listener, learn from it.
Well, what's fascinating from a planning perspective is the deliberate and structured way AppyDave is approaching this. He explicitly mentions that he can't just wing it with live streams, right?
No.
Especially when they involve technical demos or educational content.
Yeah, you really can't.
And this immediately flags a key takeaway for you. Even with something as dynamic as a live online session, a solid pre-planning phase is crucial for success.
Absolutely. And the underlying motivation here is also something you might connect with. AppyDave is aiming to balance his own content creation with the need to automate his podcast production and manage his regular business tasks. These live stream planning sessions become a way to tackle these business challenges out in the open, almost like a public problem-solving exercise. So let's zoom in on that first planned live stream, creating AI-generated workflows. What's the initial focus there?
Okay, for this one, the immediate goal is to produce a detailed requirements document. Now, for those of you who aren't developers, think of this as creating a very specific instruction manual. This document is for a developer who's already working with an AI automation platform called Agentive. The plan is to define the exact steps for building workflows for two different sets of prompts.
Okay.
And then to design the user interface for these workflows using either React or Shad CN.
Okay, that sounds pretty deep in the tech weeds. So who is AppyDave envisioning will tune in for this? Who's the audience?
Yeah, it's quite specific. Software developers, experts in AI automation, and potentially agencies that need to effectively communicate technical requirements between teams.
Yeah.
So for those of you who are either building these kinds of systems or need to clearly articulate what needs to be built, what's important here for you, the listener, is that even for a seemingly niche topic, there's a defined audience and a clear objective to create something tangible, those AI workflows and the UI to manage them.
Got it. Focused and practical. Now, let's switch gears to something that sounds a bit more visually oriented, the AI art showdown between ChatGPT and Leonardo AI. This sounds like fun.
It does sound fun. The central idea here is the direct side-by-side comparison of the images these two AI tools can generate. The plan is to use the exact same prompts for both and then really analyze their outputs, looking at things like quality, style, and how well they interpret the instructions. This allows for a very direct and informative evaluation of their respective strengths and weaknesses in image generation.
So a real cage match for AI artists. Who do you think would be most interested in seeing this unfold?
Well, the appeal here is definitely broader than the first live stream. It would attract anyone curious about AI art, whether they're using it for professional purposes like marketing and design, or simply exploring its creative possibilities for personal projects. So if you're a creator, a marketer, or just someone fascinated by the rapid advancements in AI image generation, this one's for you. The visual nature just makes it inherently engaging, right?
Definitely. Now, onto the third planned live stream, tackling the planning of a 3-day AI workshop. This feels like a much larger undertaking, maybe more moving parts.
It is a significant project, yeah. The motivation behind this live stream comes from positive feedback AppyDave received at a recent tech summit. Apparently, there was clearly an appetite for a more in-depth, hands-on workshop focused on AI implementation. So this live stream is essentially the initial groundwork, the pre-production, if you will, for a potentially bigger educational offering.
That makes sense. It's almost like planning how to plan. What kind of elements are involved in mapping out a 3-day workshop in this way, and what tools are being considered to help with the planning itself?
Well, the planning covers several key areas. First, designing a compelling workshop flyer to attract potential attendees. You need to get people interested. Second, creating the actual presentation materials and exercises that will be used during the 3 days. That's the core content. And third, outlining the specific content and schedule for each session. So day 1, day 2, day 3. The tools being considered to streamline this planning process include ChatGPT, probably for generating content ideas and outlines.
Makes sense.
Gamma AI as a potential tool for rapidly creating visually engaging presentation slides.
Oh, interesting.
And Canva, which would likely be used for designing the flyer and other visual assets. Pretty standard for that kind of thing.
That's a really smart and practical application of different AI and design tools to manage a complex planning task. It really showcases how these technologies can be integrated into a larger multi-stage workflow. And it's interesting to see the contrast between the highly technical focus of the first live stream and the more creative and educational goals of this workshop.
Exactly. And across all three of these very different planned live streams, there's a consistent element that underscores a fundamental aspect of online content creation. The creation of compelling thumbnails and effective YouTube descriptions.
Ah, yes.
The essentials.
Right. It highlights that even when the core content varies widely, the need for discoverability and clear communication remains constant.
For you, the listener, this reinforces the importance of these seemingly small details in getting your own projects noticed.
Right. Those thumbnails AppyDave mentions AI workflows made simple, AI face-off, and plan a 3-day AI workshop. They immediately give you a visual clue about the topic of each live stream. And the descriptions will provide crucial context, list the specific tools being used, and of course, link back to AppyDave's main channel for those who want to learn more.
Yeah, if we step back and look at the bigger picture here, what truly stands out is the structured and intentional way AppyDave is tackling these diverse projects. There's a clear articulation of the goals for each live stream, a defined understanding of the target audience, and a thoughtful selection of tools to facilitate both the planning and the execution. This pre-planning stage isn't just busy work, it's a critical foundation for ensuring that the actual live streams are focused, engaging, and deliver real value to the viewers.
Absolutely. It really drives home the point that even when you're dealing with cutting-edge and sometimes unpredictable technologies like AI, having a solid plan in place is absolutely essential. It provides a roadmap, helps to avoid chaos, and significantly increases your chances of achieving your desired outcomes.
Which leads to an important question for you to consider in your own work. How often do you invest this kind of structured thinking into your own complex tasks and projects, especially when you're considering how to integrate new technologies like AI to enhance your workflows?
It's definitely something to think about. Seeing this level of detail in the planning process for these 3 very different initiatives really underscores the value of that upfront investment of time and thought, even, or perhaps especially, when you're working with innovative tools. So just to recap, we've taken a deep dive into AppyDave's planning for creating AI workflow integrations, his upcoming image generation battle between ChatGPT and Leonardo AI, and the initial stages of designing a 3-day AI workshop. We've also seen how he's strategically considering tools like Ageniv, ChatGPT, Leonardo AI, Gamma AI, and Canva in these processes.
And the core message here for you is the power of structured planning, particularly when you're aiming to harness the capabilities of AI for complex endeavors. It's not simply about having access to these powerful tools, it's about having a clear and well-thought-out strategy for how to deploy them effectively to achieve your goals.
So here's a final thought for you to chew on. Think about one of your own projects or workflows that currently feels a bit overwhelming or maybe disorganized. How could you apply a similar structured planning approach, perhaps even experimenting with some of the AI tools we've discussed, to break it down into manageable steps and tackle it with greater clarity and efficiency?
That's a really powerful point to consider. And if you found this deep dive into AppyDave's planning process helpful and insightful for your own approach to projects,
Then make sure to head over to AppyDave, like and subscribe for more content like this. Want to work one-on-one? Check the link in the description.